From the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., this is Rewind. This week, at a press club luncheon, the CEO of the Mayo Clinic urged healthcare providers to seek cost-efficient treatments.
We need to better deliver knowledge. What works? We need to create value, better outcomes at affordable costs in a system that invests in excellence. There's no trade-off between improving quality and lowering cost.
At another luncheon, documentarian Ken Burns discussed his new film, Central Park 5, depicting the overheated and inaccurate media coverage of 5 black youths wrongly convicted of a brutal crime in 1989.
This was so fantastic a story, so impossible a story, so perfect a story, that the healthy skepticism that is normally present, and is sometimes still to this day present, disappeared. That's what we can do differently. That's the lesson.
Reacting to the continuing nuclear crisis with North Korea, a U.S. senator appealed for readiness.
We can't be complacent because one miscalculation, one unprotected border, one unsecured facility could all lead to a mushroom cloud somewhere in the world.
Washington, D.C.'s chief of police discussed her blueprint for keeping patrons and officers safe in developing nightlife areas.
What is an officer who's going to work that area? What type of training does that officer need? What is the most important curriculum I can provide for those officers in the academy? Is there extra training that they need to understand safe nightlife environments?
At a newsmaker event, anticipating a vote for Scottish independence in 2014, Scotland's leader explained the desire for self-governance.
The universal truth, which I believe I believe it to be self-evident, that the best people to run the affairs of any nation are the people who live and work in that nation. Nobody else will make better decisions.
At another newsmaker event, the Red Cross expressed concern about less prominent crises around the world, ones that are not receiving enough media attention.
From the west coast to the east coast of Africa, from Côte d'Ivoire to Somalia, these are what we call sometimes, or what is called sometimes almost cynically, forgotten conflicts. We do not forget those conflicts.
The state of homelessness in the U.S., a new study.
While the majority of people experiencing homelessness were staying in an emergency shelter or transitional housing program, a little more than a third were living in a place not meant for human habitation, meaning a car, an abandoned building, or on the streets.
Simeon Booker, longtime reporter for Jet and Ebony magazines and The Washington Post, discussed his new book, Shocking the Conscience, a reporter's account of the civil rights movement. An excerpt from the book about the gruesome murder of Emmett Till was read.
When the funeral attendant removed the body from the shipping case, a chunk of the skull fell off, as we all stood as if frozen in time until Jet photographer David Jackson calmly reached over and placed the slice of bone and skin and hair.
Having been among the first in the mainstream news business to embrace social media, CNN's Jake Tapper talked about the challenges and rewards of being a journalist on Twitter.
I think to be a good tweeter, you have to engage with the audience, especially if you're a member of the media or a public figure or somebody who people expect you to be responsive in one way or another. When people are challenging, or people say, have you considered this, or I didn't think that was fair, or what about that, that's great. That's what makes me a better journalist on Twitter, is when people are challenging suppositions I have.
From the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., where news happens, this is Rewind. I'm Steve Taylor.